Welcome back to the deep dive. Ever feel like the world's moving at warp speed
Hmm.
and you're kind of stuck back there in dial-up?
Uh-huh. I know that feeling.
Today, we're tackling that feeling head-on by exploring fast courses.
Yes, fast courses.
You've seen those ads everywhere, learn coding in 30 days, master marketing overnight. It's like, come on.
It is pretty tempting, right? That
Yeah,
promise of instant expertise. Like, who wouldn't want that?
exactly. And that's what makes this deep dive so interesting, I think. We're going beyond the hype. Using what we learned from this podcast episode excerpt we found, it's a fascinating conversation about the pluses and minuses.
Right. We're essentially trying to figure out, are fast courses a shortcut to success, or are they just like scratching the surface of something much bigger?
A shortcut or a surface scratch? I like that. Okay, so to start off, can we just get a clear picture of what exactly we're talking about here? When we say fast courses, what do we actually mean?
Yeah, so fast courses are basically these condensed online learning programs. They're specifically designed to teach you practical skills quickly.
Quickly,
Like
meaning?
weeks or months, not
Yeah,
years, like a traditional degree.
gotcha. So that's definitely appealing, right? Especially when you're trying to level up in your career or pick up a new skill, but you don't have a ton of time to commit.
Exactly. Time is precious these days, and traditional education can be such a huge time commitment.
This episode specifically mentioned things like coding boot camps and digital marketing certifications as prime examples of these fast courses.
Yeah, those are definitely popular ones.
And the idea of getting certified in a matter of weeks and then potentially using that to boost your career prospects, I mean, it's pretty tempting.
It is. I can see why people would be drawn to that.
But that's where the skepticism comes in too, right? I mean, can you really become a coding whiz in just a month or a marketing guru overnight? I feel like there's got to be some trade-offs.
Absolutely.
Yeah?
And the podcast episode actually compared fast courses to a sampler platter.
A sampler platter.
Yeah, so you get a taste of lots of different skills, but you might not get the same depth you would from, say, a full university program that really dives deep into one specific area.
Oh, that's a great analogy. I can see that. I could totally see myself learning basic Excel formulas in a weekend fast course or something, but mastering something super complex like machine learning in just a few weeks.
It does seem a bit ambitious, right?
Yeah, and that's the key question for anyone considering these programs, right? What's your actual learning goal?
Exactly. Are you looking for a quick win to just boost your resume? Or are you thinking about a complete career pivot? Or do you actually want to achieve true mastery of a subject?
It's different for everyone.
And knowing your goal will really help you determine if a fast course actually aligns with what you're hoping to achieve.
It's all about setting realistic expectations. So let's talk about this fast course versus traditional learning debate, because that was a big part of the episode we listened to.
Yeah, they compare those two paths pretty extensively.
And they highlighted how, traditional programs like a 4-year degree, they offer a lot more immersion in a subject. There's often a strong sense of community, and you've got guidance from professors and mentors.
Yeah, you get that more structured learning environment.
But like we were saying, those programs are time-consuming and expensive, and that's just not feasible for everybody.
No, definitely not. And that's one of the main reasons fast courses have become so popular, right? They're designed for flexibility.
You can learn at your own pace and fit those lessons around your existing schedule. It's a lot more adaptable.
Imagine being able to squeeze in coding practice during your commute or learn about SEO while the baby's napping.
I mean, yeah, that accessibility is huge, especially for people who are juggling a million things.
It's all about fitting learning into your life instead of having to restructure your whole life around learning.
And this episode made another interesting point that more and more companies these days, they're actually prioritizing skills-based certifications over traditional degrees, especially in fields like tech and marketing.
That's so interesting.
And those are the kinds of certifications you often get from fast courses.
Huh. So in a way, fast courses are sort of aligning with what companies are starting to look for in potential employees.
It makes sense. Employers want to see proof that you can actually do the job. And certifications, they kind of offer that proof in a way that a degree doesn't always do.
It's more about showing what you can do rather than just telling them you went to school for it.
The podcast even mentions specific certifications like Google Analytics and HubSpot certifications as valuable examples.
So it's not just any random certificate. It's got to be relevant and recognized.
Exactly. So there are some pros there, for sure. But the episode was really clear about one thing, that even though Fast courses might align with what companies are looking for. That doesn't mean they're a magic bullet.
Right. They're not going to solve all your problems.
And they really stress the importance of mindset when it comes to these types of courses. You really need to be realistic about what you can achieve in a short time frame.
Yeah, you can't expect to become a world-class expert in a month.
And you have to be prepared to put in the work because it's not just going to happen magically.
You still have to show up and do the learning.
Absolutely. So, to wrap up this first part of our deep dive, it seems like fast courses have the potential to be a valuable tool. But it's not as simple as just signing up and watching a few videos. There's a lot more to consider.
Yeah, we've barely scratched the surface here. There's a lot more to unpack about the effectiveness of these courses, the potential downsides, and how to really make the most of them if you do decide to go that route.
And that's what we're going to dig into in the rest of this deep dive. So make sure you stick around for parts 2 and 3, where we'll explore those nuances even further. We'll be right back after a short break.
It's not like college, right? Where you have a professor and classmates and assignments and stuff all kind of keeping you on track.
Yeah, you've got that built-in structure and accountability.
Right. With fast courses, it's more like you're your own teacher. You're in charge of keeping yourself motivated and moving forward.
You're your own cheerleader, too.
Exactly. And that can be tough for some people.
Yeah, for sure. But for someone like our listener, someone who's already into self-directed learning, that might actually be a plus.
Oh, totally. If you're already self-motivated, that independent learning style might be a perfect fit.
I know. I personally thrive in that kind of environment. But I can also see how it would be challenging for people who need more structure and external motivation.
The episode actually talked about that, how a lot of fast course platforms use those gamified elements like badges and progress trackers to help keep you engaged.
Smart, right?
It is. It's like they've tapped into the psychology of what makes learning fun and engaging.
Because let's be honest, sometimes learning can feel like a chore.
Especially if it's something you're not super passionate about.
But those little rewards, those badges and stuff, those can be a great motivator, especially when you're tackling a topic that's challenging.
I've definitely fallen for that myself. Like, oh, I just got to get to the next level. Got to earn that next badge.
It's like a little dopamine hit every time you achieve something.
Totally. So, yeah, there are definitely ways these platforms try to keep you engaged and motivated. But speaking of challenges, the episode brought up a really interesting question that I wanted to get your thoughts on.
Okay, let's hear it.
It's about this whole learn fast culture that we live in, this idea that everything has to be fast, efficient, instant results. And they asked, does prioritizing speed and efficiency in learning, does that actually devalue the kind of deep, immersive learning that happens over time?
Ooh, that's a good one. I see both sides of it, to be honest.
Yeah, I think it's a complex issue.
Like, I definitely see the potential downside. There's something to be said for really wrestling with a subject, Like going deep, spending time with it, and really experiencing that aha moment after a long struggle.
Yeah, that feeling of finally grasping a concept after putting in the effort, that can be so rewarding.
And those traditional learning environments, like a university setting, they often cultivate those experiences through things like collaboration and debate and mentorship.
Bouncing ideas off other people, getting different perspectives, having a professor guide you, that's valuable.
You don't always get that in a condensed fast course format. But then on the flip side, we live in a world that's constantly changing.
Yeah, things are moving so fast these days.
Especially in fields like tech and marketing, it's like the skills you need today might be completely obsolete tomorrow.
It's almost impossible to keep up sometimes.
So maybe these fast courses offer a way to stay relevant and adapt quickly to those changes.
It's like instead of spending 4 years getting a degree in something that might be outdated by the time you graduate, you can do a quick fast course, learn the essential skills, and then get out there and start applying them.
And if things change, you can always do another fast course to update your skills.
It's a much more agile approach to learning. And that's where I think this idea of fast courses as a complement to other forms of learning comes in.
So it's not about choosing one or the other.
Right. It's not fast courses versus traditional education.
Yeah.
It's more about how can they work together? How can fast courses fit into your overall learning journey?
Because it's a journey, not a destination. I like that.
Think of it this way. They can provide a foundation in a new subject, or they can help you stay up to date in a field that's constantly evolving.
Or they can even act as a springboard for a career transition.
Like, imagine you're thinking about switching careers, but you're not sure what you want to do.
You're feeling stuck.
Exactly. You could take a few fast courses in different areas, get a taste of what each field is like, and then make a more informed decision about where you want to focus your energy.
That's actually a really smart strategy.
I'm starting to see these fast courses in a new light now. It's less about instant expertise and more about strategic learning.
Being intentional about how you learn, knowing when and how to leverage these courses to your advantage.
And considering your own learning style and goals. Because what works for one person might not work for another.
There's no one-size-fits-all approach to learning, and this whole conversation has definitely made me think about my own learning journey. How about you? Has anything in particular resonated with you?
I think for me, what stands out is that idea of fast courses as a way to dip your toes in the water.
Right.
Like you can test the waters of a new field without having to make a huge commitment up front.
Yeah, exactly. It can be a really low-risk way to figure out if you even enjoy something before you decide to, dive in head first.
Right.
I remember when I was considering a career change a few years back, I
Wow,
actually took a fast course on UX design just to kind of see what it was all about.
that's awesome.
Yeah, and it was really helpful. It gave me enough of a taste to realize that it was something I actually wanted to pursue more seriously.
That's a perfect example. It's like that saying, you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
And sometimes a fast course can help reveal those unknowns and then give you a better sense of direction.
Totally. But, like we've been discussing, it's so crucial to approach these courses with realistic expectations.
You're not going to become a master coder or a marketing guru overnight just because you took a fast course.
It's a stepping stone, not the whole staircase.
Exactly. The episode even used this analogy of building a skyscraper.
Okay, I like this one.
They said a fast course might give you the basic building blocks.
The foundation.
Right. But you still have to do the heavy lifting of constructing that entire skyscraper.
And that takes time and effort.
Precisely. And that construction requires effort, practice, and a willingness to continue learning beyond the scope of just the fast course itself.
So it's not a one and done thing.
Definitely not.
You got to keep building on that foundation. So in a way, it all comes back to that self-directed learning mindset we were talking about earlier.
It all connects.
You have to be motivated to continue learning and growing even after you finish the course, because that's where the real learning happens, right?
Absolutely.
Right.
It's when you apply those skills in real-world situations, when you encounter challenges and figure out how to overcome them. That's the stuff that no fast course can teach you.
It's learning by doing.
Exactly. But those fast courses, they can potentially give you a head start, or at least a taste of what's possible, which could be incredibly valuable.
It can spark that initial interest.
So to wrap things up, I think it's safe to say that fast courses are a pretty fascinating product of our time. They're a reflection of our desire for quick results.
And the need to adapt quickly in a world that's constantly changing.
Exactly. They definitely offer some unique advantages, but they're not a cure-all solution.
No magic bullets here.
The key takeaway, I think, is to be a savvy learner, to understand both the possibilities and the limitations of these fast courses.
Choose them strategically based on your goals and be prepared to put in the work beyond just the course itself.
And remember, the most important tool you have is your own curiosity and your willingness to embrace that journey of lifelong learning.
It's a journey, not a race.
Well said.
Thanks for diving deep with us today on Fast Courses. We'll see you next time for another deep dive into a fascinating topic.